Today's lesson is the Inventor's Toolkit, Tesla's Genius and Edison's Practicality. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And today we're going to talk about two famous inventors. We've got Thomas Edison and we've got Nikola Tesla. You might be familiar with Tesla because there are so many Tesla cars driving on the streets of Taiwan. And, of course, they are electric. And that's significant because Tesla and Edison, they did things to improve electric distribution in the world.
Yes, but Edison and Tesla had different approaches. They had different ways of working. And these differences really determined the way that their work became accepted in the future and how they were recognized by future generations. So we're going to look today at the Inventor's Toolkit. A toolkit is basically just a set of tools, what you need to accomplish a task. And the title here implies that in order to be an inventor, you need two things as part of your toolkit. You need genius, which Tesla had, and you need practicality, which Edison possessed.
Right. So, of course, genius does refer to being extremely intelligent and also having a lot of creativity. And you can describe someone as being a genius, but here genius is referring to that actual power of the mind that Tesla had. And I suppose Edison had to a certain degree too, but Edison's talent was with his practicality, which is the state of being practical. If you're practical, of course, you know how to use things. You don't get too emotional. You're very logical about how to proceed with life. So now that we've dispensed with the title, let's dig into the body of our article. Let's start with the first paragraph. We'll now listen to it.
The Inventor's Toolkit, Tesla's Genius and Edison's Practicality. Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison were two inventors who made significant contributions to the fields of electricity and technology. While they both left a permanent mark on history, their approaches and inventions differed in many ways.
大家好，我们来介绍标题中的名词 genius， 它的意思是天赋、天资或是天才的意思。例如Roland goes to a special school that can better train his math genius. Roland 去上了一所特殊学校，以加强训练他的数学天赋。又或者说 Everyone thought that the inventor's new machine was a work of genius. 大家都认为那位发明家的新机器是天才之作。再来我们看到形容词 permanent， 它的意思是永久的、永恒的或是长期的。例如Experts say that extremely loud noises can cause permanent hearing loss. 专家说，极大的噪音会造成永久性的听力受损。又或者说 After living and working in Taiwan for several years, many foreigners opt to become permanent residents. 在台湾生活及工作数年后，许多外籍人士选择成为永久居民。
Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison were two inventors who made significant contributions to the fields of electricity and technology. So these two inventors, scientists, made significant contributions to these fields. When somebody makes a contribution to something, they basically contribute to that thing. So make contributions to is another way of saying to contribute. I could say, for instance, that the millionaire made financial contributions to the museum, or the millionaire contributed financially to the museum.
Exactly. So we're talking about two inventors here, Tesla and Edison. They were inventors. They invented things. And, of course, they made these contributions to these different fields of electricity and technology. Of course, electricity refers to electric power that we all need to live. We need electricity to run our air conditioners and to charge our phones and things like that. And, of course, technology, of course, involves all sorts of machines and devices similar to our smartphones. That all involves technology. And while they both left a permanent mark on history, their approaches and inventions differed in many ways. So oftentimes when we talk about Tesla, we often talk about Edison. And if we're talking about Edison, we're also talking about Tesla because they lived around the same period of time. They were contemporaries, as we'll get to later on. And yes, indeed, they have left a permanent mark on history. If something's permanent, it's going to be there forever, or at least for a very long time. Sometimes we may use a marker that's oil-based. The line will be permanent. It will be very difficult to wash it out. And in this particular case, they left a mark on history that's been around for a long time and will continue to be around for a long time in the future.
Yes, and when you leave a mark on something, it means that you have become famous or successful or influential in that area. So in the world of music, for instance, you can say that Michael Jackson left a mark on pop music because people will remember him and his work for generations to come.
Especially his moon dance as well. That left a permanent impression on people. Lots of people want to learn how to do that dance or to sing all his various songs, etc. And yes, indeed, the contributions of Edison and Tesla have made a permanent mark on history. But their approaches and inventions were different. They differed in many ways, which we're going to talk about in today's lesson. In today's lesson, we're actually going to focus on Nikola Tesla. So let's find out about him. Let's listen to the next part of our lesson, and we'll come right back to talk about it.
Tesla envisioned a world where electricity could be transmitted efficiently over long distances, thus transforming the way we power our cities. His work on alternating current, AC, including his invention of the AC motor, helped achieve this vision by forming the foundation of the modern-day electrical grid. Another of Tesla's groundbreaking inventions was the Tesla coil, which enabled the wireless transmission of energy. Although the device was never actually used to produce power, it paved the way for advancements in communication technologies, influencing the development of radio, television, and even the wireless charging systems we use today.
第二部分我们看到单字 envision， 它是动词，指的是设想、预想或是想象。例如 Many scientists envision a future where the human race lives in space. 许多科学家设想人类将居住在外太空的未来。或是 30 years ago, few people could have envisioned how widespread the internet would be. 30年前，很少人可以想象网际网络会变得无所不在。再来，我们看到动词 transmit， 指的是传输、传送或是传播。例如 The radio won't transmit because the aerial is damaged. 由于天线毁损，无线电无法传送讯号。又或者说 The painter uses her art to transmit her thoughts and feelings to a wider audience. 这位画家用自己的艺术把想法和感受传达给更广大的观众。下一个我们看到名词 foundation， 这个字的意思是基础或是创立、建立，它也可以是基金会的意思。例如 Trust and respect are the foundation of any relationship. 信任和尊重是任何情感关系的基础。或是 This course is designed to give students a strong foundation in Spanish grammar. 这门课是设计来让学生打稳西班牙语的文法基础。
Tesla envisioned a world where electricity could be transmitted efficiently over long distances, thus transforming the way we power our cities. So Tesla began with an idea of what he wanted to do and what the thing that he would do could accomplish for the future. He envisioned something. When you envision, you imagine something that you think might happen in the future, especially something that is good and positive. So, for instance, I could say, I would like to envision a world without borders, where people can go from one place to another without having to go through border control or using their passports. So that's what I envision. Now, Tesla envisioned or saw for the future a world where electricity could be transmitted efficiently. When you transmit something, you send it out. So electronic signals, for instance, are transmitted.
Right, or radio signals are transmitted, TV signals are transmitted. They basically are moved from one place to another. And yes, you need to transmit electricity from the power plant to our homes. Otherwise, the electricity is wasted. And he wanted to transmit that electricity efficiently, without a lot of power loss, over long distances. thus transforming the way we power our cities. Notice here the word power is being used as a verb. It's most often used as a noun. We use nuclear power here in Taiwan to produce electric power, but power can also be used as a verb. We do need to use electricity to power our cities, to run the traffic lights, the lights at night, etc. Yeah, we do need electric power.
Yeah, so Tesla envisioned a world where electricity could be transmitted efficiently over long distances. His work on alternating current, also known as AC, including his invention of the AC motor, helped achieve this vision by forming the foundation of the modern-day electrical grid.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got two different types of electricity here. We've got AC and we've got DC. But he did work on the alternating current, or AC. We're not talking about air conditioning here. We're talking about this type of electric current. It's the alternating current. And that included his invention of the AC motor. These things helped achieve this vision by forming the foundation of the modern-day electrical grid. The foundation is just the basis of something. You need to set these things up in order to proceed to the next level. A good foundation for English study is to understand the grammar or to have a foundation with some basic vocabulary, things like that. Or if you want to build a building, you need to establish what's there in the basement and the first floor. That's the foundation of a building. And his vision formed the foundation of the modern-day electrical grid. The grid, of course, is the network or the system that delivers electricity from power plants to our homes and to our businesses.
Right, so Tesla's work on AC, which is the flow of electricity that changes directions regularly and quickly, provided the foundation for the modern-day electrical grid. And of course, the grid is what allows electricity to run from power plants to our homes and our offices in an efficient way.
Right, so again, he had this vision a long time ago, imagining the future. And I guess we owe him a lot because nowadays we have our modern-day electrical grid. Modern day just means the thing that we have right now in our daily lives, the electrical grid. Okay, let's move on now to the next paragraph. It says, another of Tesla's groundbreaking inventions was the Tesla coil, which enabled the wireless transmission of energy. So this particular invention was groundbreaking, which means it was revolutionary, it was new and exciting, and it was very significant. And yes, this was a very important invention. It was groundbreaking. And that invention was the Tesla coil. A coil is just something that's kind of windy, like a spiral staircase, I suppose, is a coil, or in your motorcycle's engine, there's a coil in there that spins things around to produce power for the engine. And this Tesla coil enabled or allowed the wireless transmission of energy. If something's wireless, it's not using wires. Like radio transmission is a form of wireless technology.
Right. So this coil was used to transmit energy or enable the wireless transmission of energy. And here we have the word transmission, which is the noun form of the verb to transmit that we saw before. And transmission basically means the process of sending out electronic signals, for instance, via radio, or in this case, it's via the Tesla coil.
Now, here it says, although the device was never actually used to produce power, it paved the way for advancements in communication technologies, influencing the development of radio, television, and even the wireless charging systems we use today. So he did invent the Tesla coil, which again allowed for the transmission of energy, but it was never actually used to produce electricity. But it did pave the way. It established the foundation for advancements in communication technologies. Now, an advancement, of course, is when something moves forward. It is advanced in technology. It becomes better. It becomes more useful to people. So we talked about advancements in communication technologies. And, of course, that influenced the development of radio, of TV, of wireless charging systems, and even the wireless phone networks we use every day that we take so much for granted.
Yes, and if something paves the way for something else, it means that this thing makes the later event possible or makes the development of something possible under the right conditions. So Tesla's groundbreaking work paved the way for advancements in communication technologies. Here, as Roger mentioned, advancements means developments, basically, or progress in a particular field.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's wrap things up now and talk about the third part. We'll listen to it first.
Despite his brilliant inventions, Tesla never achieved commercial success. His ideas were often considered too advanced for their time, and he struggled to gain funding for his projects. As a result, he lived a life of financial hardship and died with little wealth. Fortunately, Tesla left behind an extraordinary legacy and is now recognized as one of the world's greatest inventors.
第三部分我们看到形容词 financial， 它是财务的或是金融的。例如 Shane often asks Kathy for financial advice. Shane 经常向 Kathy 请教财务方面的意见。又或者说 People around the world are worried about the financial crisis. 全球各地的人们都在担心金融危机。另外补充这个字的相关名词 finance, F-I-N-A-N-C-E, finance, 意思是资金或是金融。例如 Several government programs were cancelled because of a lack of finances. 好几项政府计划因缺乏资金而取消了。又或者说 Marcus studies business and finance in college. Marcus 在大学研读商务和金融。最后我们看到形容词 extraordinary， 也可以念作 extraordinary， 指的是非凡的、出色的、非常奇特的。例如 Tony's doctor was amazed by his extraordinary recovery. Tony 的医生对于他非凡的恢复状况感到惊奇。又或者说 Tom has made extraordinary improvements in his math class. Tom 在数学课有出色的进步。
So Tesla did come up with some brilliant ideas and inventions. However, despite his brilliant inventions, Tesla never achieved commercial success. In other words, his inventions were never fully accepted by the people of the time. He was never able to make a lot of money from his inventions. His ideas were often considered too advanced for their time, and he struggled to gain funding for his projects.
We could also say he was ahead of his time. His inventions became more common later after he was gone. So yes, indeed, even though he had these brilliant inventions, he never became rich from them. Similar to Vincent van Gogh, I suppose, he wasn't really recognized as a master painter until after he died. And I guess the same thing applies to Nikola Tesla as well. His ideas were considered too advanced for their time. He was ahead of his time. And he struggled to gain funding for his projects. Funding just means people provide money for you. It could be investment in technologies. He may have presented his ideas to various people and said, hey, would you like to invest or give me some funds for this invention? And they probably looked at it and thought, well, it's very clever, it's very ingenious, but we don't think it has a future, so we're not going to give you funding for this project. We're not going to give you any money.
Yes, that's very unfortunate because as a result, he lived a life of financial hardship and died with little wealth. So even though he was such a genius, he didn't make any money or very little money from all his work. And he lived a life of financial hardship. So hardship just means difficulty, a lot of suffering and difficulty in life. And the type of difficulty and suffering that he had specifically were financial ones. So financial just means relating to money and money management. And since he had little money and no one was willing to invest or fund his projects, he died with very little money.
Yep, he suffered a life of financial hardship, and then he died with little wealth. He was not rich when he died. But fortunately for us, Tesla left behind an extraordinary legacy and is now recognized as one of the world's greatest inventors. So great that he has a car named after him now, which is, of course, totally electric. So he did leave behind this legacy. we're describing it as an extraordinary legacy. A legacy, of course, is fame that happens after you're gone or after a long amount of time. We talk about something handed down, the legacy of various projects, or the legacy of maybe somebody produced some art or something, and the artist has a legacy that follows him or her over time because he or she was very good at what they did. And if something's extraordinary, well, it's really, really great. It's more than the ordinary. That's what extra means. More than, and ordinary just means average. So extraordinary just means above average.
Yes. For instance, I could say that it took an extraordinary amount of time and energy to build the pyramids of Egypt. And as for the word legacy, it can also refer to negative things. For instance, you can talk about the legacy of an earthquake or a tornado, which basically refers to the effect of the earthquake or tornado.
Exactly. So, of course, we all remember Tesla, and we do recognize his contributions to the world of electricity and other inventions as well. But again, during his lifetime, he didn't do so well. So hopefully he's doing now quite well in his next life. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Let's listen now to Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第2部分提到，特斯拉设想了一个电力能够有效长途传输的世界，进而彻底改变了我们为城市供电的方式。文中他用到 envision 这个动词来表达设想，我们就来学它的字首字根。好，看到 vid、vis 或是 view 这一类字根呢，表示观看、观察或是看到。像 vision 它就是由字根 vis看，然后再加上名词字尾 ion 组成了 vision， 可以表达视力啊、视觉、眼光。那它其实还有那种想象、展望或是愿景的语义。我们在前面加上字首 en 会变成动词 envision， 它就可以表达设想、预想、想象或是展望。好，那这个字首 en 呢，它其实是有那种使啊或是提供的意思。我们也顺便补充几个有这一类字根的单字哦。第一个是 evident， 它的字首 e 表示完全，字根 vid 表示看， ent 是形容词字尾。当某事可以完全的看到，看得一清二楚，应该很容易联想到 evident， 它有显然、显而易见的意思。好，那第二个补充的单字是 supervisor， 它的字首 super 表示上方，那么字根 vis 表示观察，or 是名词字尾，用来表示从事什么什么的人。好，在上方从事观察的人，在上方查看的人，应该很容易就可以联想到 supervisor， 它有主管啊、监督人或是管理者的意思。那第三个补充的是 preview， 它的字首 pre 表示预先，那么 view 是观看，预先观看应该很容易想到 preview， 它有预览、预告、预告片的意思。好，另外文中呢，它也有用到 transmit和 transform 这两个动词，我们看到它们都带有相同的字首，那就来介绍这个字首 trans。 好，这个字首 trans 它有跨越、超出，从这一端跨到另一端，或者是透过什么什么而造成改变的意思。好，那带有这个字首的单字多半会带有变动啊、改变的语义。我们看到在 transmit 这个字当中，它的字首 trans 表示跨越，那么字根 mit 表示 send， 就是送出的意思。好，那合在一起 transmit 它就有传输、传送或是传播的意思。再看到 transform， 它的字首 trans 表示穿越或是转变， form 是形状、形式，那合在一起 transform 就可以表达使转变、转换或是改变、改造的意思咯。好，那再补充两个带有相同字首的单字哦。第一个是 transcend， 它的字首 trans 表示超出，那么字根 send 它表示攀爬，合在一起 transcend 就有那种超越、胜过或是优于什么什么的意思。再来看到 transport， 它的字首 trans 表示跨越，那么这个 port port 表示运送，把物品往返运送到不同地方，应该就可以想到 transport 它有运送、运输的意思了。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Genius Only after her death was her genius as a composer revealed. Permanent. Because of the accident, Peggy has a permanent injury that affects her ability to walk. Envision. I envision a future in which clean energy sources power all our cities. Foundation. Dr. Morton's ideas laid a strong foundation for the development of new treatments. Financial. Financial planning is important for long-term security and independence. Extraordinary. The actor's extraordinary performance left the audience in tears. Legacy. Shakespeare's plays have left a significant legacy to theater.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Helen.
I am Roger.
See you next time.